To create your portrait of your nature-inspired person, what I'm going to start by doing is using a blank piece of white paper and also a ruler. I am going to start my oval, I would say maybe like 2 inches from the top here. So somewhere in the ballpark of maybe right here. And I am going to make it about a 6-inch oval. Okay, so from here to here is about 6 inches, so I'll make a little mark. And then I want this to be somewhere in the ballpark of, I don't know, maybe about 4 inches wide. So from here to here, just to give us a nice size face shape to begin with. And then holding my pencil back a little bit further, I am going to very lightly connect these dots to create my oval shape for my face. Okay, so I'm holding my pencil back, I'm going around many different times. Okay, and then from these lines that I've created, there's a whole bunch of sketchy lines. I'm gonna erase the ones that are not suitable to my face shape. Now I'm gonna keep mine pretty eggish. You can choose a wider face shape if you so choose. So I'm just going to keep some of these lines, the lines that I do need. This one comes in a little bit too much for me, so I'm going to erase that one. Keep this one. This one comes down a little bit too far for me. I'm going to erase that. All right. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a portrait for our nature-inspired human, okay? It can really be either gender, it can just be a face. You do not have to assign it a gender necessarily, so all up to you, okay? But the main thing I'm showing you here is how to draw a face in proportion, okay? That's more of a realistic face, okay? Now, what I have here is I've got my 6-inch oval. I'm going to go ahead and create a series of guidelines. These guidelines, you want to keep them nice and light because we're going to probably erase them later on. You just don't want them to muck up your drawing a little bit later on. So what I'm going to do is measure, put my ruler vertically in the center and create a little notch at the 3-inch mark. And then I am going to move my ruler down. And so from the center mark to the chin space here is that 3 inches. So I'm going to put another mark at 1.5 or 1.5 inches right here. Okay. And then I'm going to move my ruler down. I just like to move my ruler down because it's easier for me to think of mathly things. This last 1.5 inch little stretch here, I'm going to divide it in half to 1.25 inches. Okay, so this is my, or sorry, my not 1.25 inches, my 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch is, this is my inch mark, this is my 1/2 inch mark, this is 3/4 right here. So I have 6 inches total. I have a mark at the 3-inch, a mark at 1.5 inches, and then 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch, okay? And so what I'm going to do at that point is I'm going to create a series of vertical and also horizontal lines. The first thing I'm going to do is create a center guideline that goes straight down my oval, so it bisects the face in half, so sides are equal. I'm going to, at this point, create a horizontal line right at the 3-inch mark, right at the 1.5 inch, and then one at that just 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and these are the guidelines for drawing a face in proportion. Proportion just means making things in the right size in relation to the whole. Okay, so we want the eyes to be the right size in relation to the head, nose to be the right size, etc. So this top guideline here, believe it or not, is the eye line. Your eyes are actually in the center of your head. So we draw them down a little bit further down than you would often expect, because this top portion of the head is covered by hair. The second guideline is for the base of the nose. Okay, so the base of the nose will rest right about here. And then this last guideline bisects the lips. Okay, so it kind of slices them in half. All right. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out my my eyes, and so 5 eye widths can go across the width of your face. So I can either use my ruler to measure, or I can just kind of ballpark it here. I'm going to take a little quick measurement just with my fingers and see if I can fit 5 across. Nope, that's too big. That's 4. 1, 2. I think that's almost close. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it looks like I have 1 eye width. It's like about here. There should be about 1 eye width between your eyes. And then I have another eye width right here. Okay, I'm gonna erase this one, shift it over just a smidgy. There we go. Okay, so I should be able to fit about 5 football shapes across my eye line right there. Okay, so if I were to sketch those out, that's kind of what it would look like. All right. Now I'm not going to draw all of those lines because all those shapes. I'm not going to create a five-eyed human being here. Okay, but what I am going to do is start sketching my 2 eyes. Okay, right in these sections here. Okay, so I'm keeping 1 eye width between the eyes, and then I'm going to create these sort of open football shapes for the eyes. The hardest part that students have is just keeping them kind of as similar as possible. And then when we sketch out the remainder of the eye, I am going to do the iris and the pupil. And so the iris, if you're looking straight forward, you're going to not see. P.S. The iris is a colored part of your eye. You're only going to see the top and the bottom of it. So the top and the bottom of the circle are kind of just hidden behind the eyelid. The pupil, if the eye is looking straight forward, is going to be that black circle in the middle. I'm going to add a little tear duct here. I'm going to add an eyelid line. It's kind of like a little hat for your eye. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little bit faster. So iris, circle, with the top and bottom are kind of cut off. Pupil. Okay, looking straight ahead. All right, and then these little tiny sort of hats for the eyes. Okay, those are your eyelids. Right. So something that looks like this. Your eyebrows are the hairy rainbows of your face. They're actually they span the width of the eye. Okay, so depending on how thick and dark you make these, may determine whether it looks masculine or feminine or harsh or not. Okay, the hairs in your eyebrow typically go to the outside of your face, and they get smaller for the most part as they go across. Okay, I'm not going to do a whole eyebrow here, but the main thing is you want to make them about the width of your eye. Okay, so this is what I have so far. All right, moving on to the nose. So the nose actually takes up about this section of your face. It's the most narrow between your eyes, okay? And the base of the nose is going to rest on this intersection, okay? So right at that second guideline. Typically, the nose has one sphere-like shape. You can kind of see how large mine is kind of proportion to the rest of my face here. Typically from the corner of the eye down is about the width of the base of the nose, okay? Now, your nose actually has 2 nostrils on either side, so when you sketch those out, it's like this part that kind of comes down and around, okay? And then you can add your nostrils in, kind of right like that. I like to often kind of add a line on either side, just because when we're sketching, we're often breaking things down into line rather than like value with shading. Okay, the key is just to keep it narrow here and a little bit larger towards, a little bit wider toward the bottom. Okay. From here, I'm going to go ahead and start the lips, okay? The lips, to keep those in proportion, I am going to, right shy of the pupil down is going to be about the width of the lips. For a lot of people, the upper lip is actually more narrow than the bottom lip, although it really depends. Really depends on an individual. Okay. And then the bottom lip is more of a, tends to be a little bit wider. More of like a squashed U shape. Okay. Now at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of even out my jawline here. So I'm gonna flatten the chin a little bit, angle this up, over. Angle this up and over, okay. And let's say that I want to add like a neck or hair. If I want to add a neck or hair, the neck comes kind of from the base of the face here down and out. Your neck is almost as wide as your face. Okay, shoulders could come off like this. And then your ear and your nose, believe it or not, are the same size. Okay, so typically when we're facing forward, we just kind of see the ears kind of from the front. So they're more narrow, but we can make them this long, from the eye line to the nose guideline. And then lastly, we can do some hair here, okay? So if you're doing hair, remember this section here is all forehead. This here, really right here, is the top of the hair, top of the head, okay? So this is all hair in here. You can decide what type of hair shape you're going to give this person here. Okay, just depending. You can also add eyelashes. Okay, this is something I forgot. Your eyelashes, depending on your eye, curve to the outside. So this is the right eye. It's curving to the right here. Okay. From this slideshow, I would encourage you to alter these features. So if you want this to be like maybe a more stern looking person, you can kind of drop the eyelids or even the eyebrows and make them kind of come down a little bit more. Okay. If you want the nose to look, I don't know, a little bit more stern, you can change the shape of it. You can make it more boxy. Okay. You can make the mouth more narrow. You could change the shape of it. Okay. So use the individual features in the slideshow and kind of put them where you think that, or use the ones that you think should go where they, or the ones that you want to use, okay? So you don't have to exactly draw my features. The key though is putting them in the correct spot, okay? So eyeline, base of your nose, and then also your mouth. Use them according to these guidelines so that you can get that face in proportion.